Yeah. So, guys, find your seats. We are about to start with the last session of the day. Yeah, let's go over here and listen what Nick's saying. He's always saying smart stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Greek philosophy today.
We will not share it.
okay. So the Greek philosophy session will be after the dinner in late night bars with Nick Nisbet. But for now, we still have one really exciting session for you. And yeah, we'll just give people a few minutes to come down together, so settle down before you can take the stage. So I'll be doing some stand-up comedy until then, warming up the crowd for you, you know, so they feel loose. They're laughing at all the jokes you make, and yeah, if only I was a comedian, but I'm not. But yeah, you've heard a lot of great presentations today, and it has been a really action-packed agenda. I mean, hats off to the program managers and Judith and Francesca and everybody who put together this incredible program. And hats off to the moderators who've managed to actually keep mostly in time, because I think this session would start at like 6 p.m. But surprisingly, we're not at all that much over time. So we're pretty much, I would say, have done really well. And but that doesn't mean that you presenters, you can take extra time. That means you have to be really punctual and fast. Because, yeah, but you have to gauge the audience. I mean, if they're falling asleep, you like a little bit have to say really loud stuff. Oh, this microphone isn't good for that. Or you can throw water at the audience or something to wake them up, so they pay attention and they are, yeah, listening to what you have to say. Because we have a lot of great presentations here. And from a lot of countries as well. And so far, it's been about technology. It's been about research. Now we're going into the country-specific use cases. So now we're going to hear how this stuff is actually being implemented. And that's the most interesting part to me, actually, to see how actually stuff gets used that the researchers and the technology guys develop. Really, really smart stuff. But it's useless if you don't use it or you don't implement it. So, but without further ado, I would like to hand over the stage to two colleagues from Germany here. And we have 12 points. 12 points goes to Estonia. No, no, it's Iceland. Ja, ding dong. Okay, but no, Christopher Vollmer and Eckhard Riege. You have the stage. Please go ahead. 10 minutes. I will be giving you warnings, just to don't go too much over time. But please, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Eckhard Riege. I work for the Ministry of Interior, Building and Digitalization. We both, Christoph and I, work for digitalization. But it's very comfortable to have the theme building in the same house. And formally, I work for building, and that's a very good start to have an entree in the thinking of administration. And I think this is the key to opening for digitalization, course. In Germany, the administration is not on the way. We must work them up, and I hope a little bit we work ourselves up, because we have a building in our house. What is essential for digitalization? I think essential is not in the first, the technology that Ronny Weinkauf and Andreas Fiedler will show you our solution, but you must start with the transformation of administration. Oh, thank you. this was our idea, that the project is from the beginning a project of transformation and not a project of architecture. How we manage it? We have set high aims with great impact, and we work agile. And this was the key of our success, I think. More and more in Germany, the transformation of public administration takes center stage in Germany. What is the aim of the Only Access Act? The aim is the legal obligation to digitize is intended to strengthen public administration. Actually, the amendment to the Only Access Act is being drafted for continuous further development. The focus is on user friendliness with greater impact in the optimization of administrative processes. A digital citizen account and less paperwork is central. All administrative levels are working together towards one goal, and this is very, very important in a system that is state, federal, and municipalities. They are not used to work together, but now with the Only Access Act, they must work together, and that is really new in Germany, and I think is very successful. Responsibility is divided into 14 topics that affect the lives of citizens and businesses. Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania, it borders the Baltic Sea, the northern of Germany, very north Germany, is responsible for building and housing. EFA, we called it in Germany, follows the one for all many implementation principle and enables user-friendly, resource-saving digitalization. What's the point of success, or what's the impact? The reduces the organizational and financial burden on the federal states and municipalities through one-off development and central operation, a high level of user-friendliness thanks to a high degree of standardization both for applicants and for the federal states and municipalities using the system, a mature solution in terms of content by involving several federal states at an early stage, e.g. in the form of federal state working groups. Cost savings compared to existing solution development by the individual federal states through joint operation, the ability to adapt to the visual identities and procedural specifics of the federal states through modular application processes, and the central and joint further development of the digital solution in the interests of all countries. The economic stimulus package supports the increased and accelerated implementation of the EFA model only. The federal government has provided 3 billion euros for this purpose. Digital Building Permit Mission. The topic of building and housing is one of a total of 14 topics in the OZG implementation in Germany. A total of 24 services are being digitized in 3 implementation projects. 3 implementation projects are being implemented as EFA services. 42 applications are digitized in 28 online services. 1 central platform for all stakeholders. It's very important. And at the heart of the implementation is a process room, which serves as a bidirectional collaboration platform. You will hear more. Therefore, I finished soon. As a so-called focus service in Germany, we have 15 of the federal government. The digital building permit has been identified as exemplary with a particularly high quality and impact for the whole of Germany. Therefore, we are really proud. And several financial support is available for this purpose. The Chancellery continuously monitors progress. Thank you, and now it's your turn.
Yeah, thank you, Eckhard, for the overview about the mission digital application for Germany. I have to hurry up a little bit, so please follow me through the next few pages. The status quo of the federal rollout combines 9 reuse agreements, so we are in total combined 10 federal states with an approximately potential of 582 authorities. 452 are connected right now, and from the 452 are 233 in productive operation rooms. Maybe you will see a huge gap between the 37 productive construction portals. That comes from the process, how we operate with the different authorities. We set them up to use the operation rooms, but only if they give us a call to set them in the productive construction portals, then they are live and available for the citizens. For 2024, our focus is on setting up additional process rooms and rolling out. We are mainly driven by 4 pillars: the strategy of the federal ministries, the amendment of federal laws, requirements from the co-user countries, and that's one of the main impacts on our roadmap, and also the requirements from the professionals. The last page is an excerpt from our roadmap we already developed in 2023 and started these 3 projects: the digital signpost, process automation, and BIM. I think I will finish here, so don't get over time, and maybe you have some questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Christoph and Eckhard. I have a quick question. You talk about BIM, but are you also talking about open BIM or more generally about BIM?
BIM is an inflational use in Germany, so many people talk about BIM, but not specific. We are on a road to BIM, how we call it in Germany, and we are in discussion with many partners in Germany and internationally, so we try to focus our focus for our project.
Okay, thank you. We can take one quick question from the audience if there is a burning question that you just can't keep to yourself, but it seems no. So thank you again, guys. So we have a really good, so we have to keep it sped up. So next I would like to invite Ronny and Andreas. I understand you guys will be showing practical stuff that we heard the introduction to about the big program, the 3-point-something billion euros, and how much of that did you get?
Only a smaller part.
Only just $500 million. Okay. But fine, the stage is yours, and I will be signaling when to cut it off, okay?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I work for the Brain SEC IT company that was contracted by the ministry to develop the solution for the digital building permit in Germany. And I remember one slide in the presentation, there was Germany in the front-running state. So I was very happy. Unfortunately, this never happens in the Eurovision Song Contest. And let's see the European football tournament in the summer where we end up. I'm not really confident, but let's see. Okay, let's come to the solution. I show you a little bit the user story. You log in Germany, the user has two possibilities. Private persons has an account and company ones. Interestingly, many regions have decided to have a trust level very low. You just need an email, login name, and a password in order to have a low barrier of entry. So no electronic ID needed is a good solution, we think. Then you come to the online formula. You enter all the things. And also Germany has done a good step in you don't need to sign the document, also not to electronically sign. So there's no requirement of signature. You just need to fill in the form, upload the documents, and then you can submit everything. A special requirement for us was, there's so many people working on the building application, and we enable them to work together in the process room. And there's the building owner, there's the representative of the owner, there's the architect, and they all can join together in this process room and write on the application, and then they submit it. And here you see some screenshots from our solution. You choose the role that you have, you can invite people, and finally you jointly agree on the final solution and submit it. And the process room, this is the central solution, Vorgangsraum. It is a communication platform used by all the stakeholders of the solution. Once you have submitted the application, later you can hand in documents that were missing or that were wrong. Once you get the fee, you can pay online. And of course, you can receive the building permit digitally. For this purpose, you have, as an applicant, you have a dashboard. You can enter this in the process room. You always see how your application is doing. You have a status, you can send messages. But the process room is also used for many entities that are involved in the examination process. And like there are departments, internal departments, there are other municipalities, inspection engineers, and they are also using the process room. They have their own back-end where they can receive these questions and can send in their opinions, and that's part of the solution. And also the policy officer in the administration has an own back-end where he can check the incoming applications and he can do certain activities. This is my final slide, which shows the architecture of the process room. I'm not going to explain into detail, but you see everything is in one solution. The front end and the back end, everything is connected. And on the right side, you see the future where we want to further develop our solution, connect BIM, chatbot, AI. And for this purpose, to explain, I hand on to my boss, Ronny.
Thank you, Andreas. If you are software engineers, we call it domain-driven design. That's why it's our domain in the middle of this. Okay, but my part is to give you an insight in our future roadmap. I hope it's interesting. The first one, surprise, surprise, the question. it's a BIM checker. BIM checking is the next step, and we can already submit BIM files, but we plan the checking of building codes and regulations, and we talked a lot about this stuff today. The second point on our future roadmap is an automatically generated geodata report, depending on the location of the construction project, and we plan all types of geodata can be used. For instance, protected areas, contaminated sites, flood plains, and so on. A third functionality on our future roadmap is neighborhood participation. It's a manually process, the involvement of neighbors in the digital building permit process. And the first step is to identify the neighboring properties and their owners. And the second step is to invite these owners to participate in the building permit process. Another point to do, Christoph showed it, is our chatbots. We plan different types of chatbots. The first chatbot is to assist applicants as a digital guide, but we also plan chatbots to assist local authority officials and to assist participants. And where chatbots are, I can say AI is not far, that's why AI support. And the first functionality, the first AI support is for the 3 chatbots I mentioned, or we plan. And we have proof of concepts already, and we will develop this further for productively use. And other functionality, AI functionality, is text summary, pre-formulation of documents, and data extraction. That is our focus in the AI functionality. Okay, I saw it. I'm short. Okay, and last not least, process automation is our vision. All I mentioned are building blocks of such kinds of process automation, and we will go further steps in this area, such as extraction and automatic transfer of register data. We know it's a long-term run, and it's a topic for the next years. Yes, we are looking forward to the discussions at this, I think, wonderful conference. Thanks to the organizers again, and thanks for your attention.
Thank you. Quick question. The current building permitting process, you said you can log in just with a name and a password. Do you also sign it with just your name and password, or is there some electronic signature system?
As I mentioned before, there's no signature, electronic signature needed to submit an application.
Okay, but if you get a building permit that has a signature, no?
Yes, the building permit needs signature. That's on the other side. It's signed electronically.
Okay, so but that is still signed electronically by the municipality and then submitted. Okay, cool. Any questions from the audience? We have one question.
I think maybe related to your question, how does the applicant identify himself in the system? Is it just username and password, and
There are these 2 options. You have user accounts for private persons and for companies. And you register in this Bund ID, it's called, in Germany, and then you say it's your name and so on. And then this is the form of authorization where they identify the persons.
These are independent, centralized identity providers, and we use it. It's for other purposes too.
Does that go to the person or the company?
One kind of identity provider, so-called Bürgerkonto, oder wie heißt das? Bund ID is for persons, and for companies, Unternehmenskonto in German. is another identifier, also for taxes and so on used.
Okay, but thank you, Ronny and Andreas, and looking forward to the BIM-based permitting solution that is coming up right away. How soon? Just a quick question.
Depends on the money.
You hear that? That 3 billion is not enough. We need to find more. Okay, thank you guys. So now we're taking our sights off Germany, but not going too far. So we're going to Slovenia. So Jernej Tekavec, are you here somewhere? You're over here in the corner. So you're going to talk to us what's happening in Slovenia. So I'm looking forward to it in Ljubljana. Okay,
Yeah.
the stage is yours.
Hello. First, a little correction. I'm Jaan doing the presentation instead of a colleague. So I will try to be brief. My colleagues from Germany do have me at a disadvantage because we're going to be repeating ourselves a lot in this segment, I'm sure. We're all doing the same things, but bear with me, please, and we will make it through. So I will briefly summarize what Slovenia has been doing regarding the modernization and informatization of all the legislation that deals with building construction and building construction related processes such as spatial acts and zoning plans. A lofty goal, as I'm sure many of you can attest to, with your own experiences. It all starts with the implementation of the spatial information system. What is it? It encompasses every level of the decision-making processes, thus including a variety of different systems and registries that need to communicate with each other and are required to participate within the processes so we get to their ends. Implementation of electronic services, preparation, adoption, enactment of national, regional, and local spatial planning documents is what e-planning part is working with, and in the processes of obtaining a building and usability or usage permit, of course, is what e-construction is dealing with. What we strive to achieve is to create a single point of entry, a one-stop shop, just like the colleagues from Germany, for every participant in these processes, from investors to local authorities, various stakeholders, be it conservationists or culture, heritage. The system establishes a common information infrastructure with unified and interconnected spatial databases, and it provides the access and exchange of relevant data in every part of different processes. Public access to all adopted acts, as well as spatial acts or zoning plans, and digital permits is also done through the spatial information system. Just a little overview, again, of what the system encompasses together. As I said, a one-stop shop. I'm sorry it's not in English, but maybe next time, if anyone will be interested, I can provide some English version of it. Okay, but we should focus on e-construction. So let's briefly summarize that. The challenges, of course, with the digitalization of entire legislation that deals with permits, with aforementioned zoning plans, building usability permits, construction phases, post-process operations, they all have various stakeholders. So this is just an overview of those stakeholders that all participate within a sandbox in our spatial information system. So what had to be done for this information system to begin working? There was, of course, process optimization, detecting common sub-processes and converting them into modules that could work anywhere within the system, regardless if it's e-construction or e-planning. If a module was the same or functionally the same, only data changed, we reuse it throughout the whole system just to make it faster and lower the cost of development. Implementation of key registries and collections, always working with the latest data to avoid complications. Coincidentally, working with live data, so relevant last-minute data, also kind of works as an automation process because you don't have to recheck that data in the post-process. In short, is to connect every process that deals with either spatial or building act or permit. Maybe I should just shorten it out a bit because I'm going to be running out of time. So again, different components are designed in such a way that they are reusable, as I said before. so maybe go through long-term benefits of the system implementation for the authorities on a state and municipal level, vastly improved transparency and efficiency because data is always gathered within the system, alleviating red tape whenever possible, so live data being used does not need a check, quality improvements, of course, standardization of processes and sub-processes, and improved supervision in the end in the post-process of every digital permit. And for citizens, of course, many same things apply. Improved data and information procurement, automation of such processes and sub-processes, tools and guidelines available. I'll show some of them later. Ease of access. It's very easy to enter the system. All you need is a digital certificate. And that's it. Also works for every European citizen because we use the state to yeah, I will hurry up. And faster application, of course, for permits and registry entries. Okay, just to reiterate, processes are modular. You can take a sub-process out. If it's no longer necessary, replace it with auto-check when the technology is ripe enough to do that. In addition to modularity, we need to follow the whole building life cycle, so from the planning stage to its eventual demolishment. What you can already see as a public citizen, building permits and other administrative acts that can deal with building construction are available already. Such acts are completely public. Any one of you can check. And as I was saying before, for the general public, the potential investors, we provide interactive guidelines to make the process as easy as possible. Maybe just one more thing, how we are handling all these stakeholders that are present within individual processes. We have established a registry of stakeholders that defines every consent authority and stakeholder with a clear spatial area or zone, be it shape file. And this is how we automate the addition of every stakeholder available on land into a process based on the building plot land that is present within the building permit application. Where we are going, you all know where we're going. We need to standardize the technical documentation. Of course, we are going BIM building smart, need to set a rule for IFC formats. So I'm just going to skip through this, just a short recap of a direction I'm sure most of us are heading into, right? So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jaan. Quick question. Is the system mandatory in Slovenia? Do you have to use it to apply for building permits?
The system will be mandatory when the implementation phase will conclude. Implementation phase is being done by municipalities, and in about 2 years, maybe a little less, it should cover the whole Slovenia. We had to do it this way because in Slovenia the permits are being issued from the state level, and all the spatial plans and other regulations are done on the municipal level. So we need to connect these two together, and we cannot do it in one go, as I'm sure you can understand. But after the whole region of the country is covered, it will be mandatory, yes.
Excellent. Do we have a question from the audience? I can open up the floor for one question. Yeah? Oh, we have a question over there. Just quickly.
Guys, it's regarding the standards you are mentioning. Could you explain a bit more about which standards should be developed?
You mean the standards for the technical documentation, or?
Yeah, you said like 4 steps of standards. They are related of the documentation people has to use to apply for it, or the processes, or
yes. I was talking about process standardization at first, because this is the stage where we're at. The processes need to be the same regardless in what area you are planning your project. But yes, in the future, when I say standards, I mean a whole lot of other standards that need to be done to follow the BIM future. So technical documentation using IFC, everything that has been already said this day and will probably be said tomorrow. I hope I've answered your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again, Jaan.
Thank you.
So I got your name right now. And Next up, we're going to cold Finland with Antero Hirvensalo coming to talk to us. So what's going on in Tampere and overall in Finland. So tervetuloa. Stage is yours, Antero. Go ahead. Microphone is there, and I'll be giving you signs.
Good signs, hopefully.
Very good signs.
So my name is Antero Hirvensalo, and I represent Tampere University, and I'm proud to be a part of the EU net for DBP. And also I'm very happy that the EU net has taken a very multifaceted approach to the transformation in permitting and digitalizing, and there's the technical side driving development, but also there's the organizational and side and the people, and there are the processes that should be transformed also, and there's the legislation also that is developing all the time. So that's why we need this kind of systemic approach. And then the question is that how can we make this kind of very broad change happen? What kind of methods and means do we have to actually change the practices and the everyday life of the industry as a whole? And one angle to that question is the public-private piloting model. A little bit difficult idea, but I'm going to tell you about the experiences, how that model has worked in Finland. And some basics, it's funded by maybe all the stakeholders like the Finnish ministries, but also the participating firms. And one very central thing is that real-life building permits are used for developing the digital processes. And so we had participants from all the sectors. And this kind of the public-private model has not developed at once, but it's a long story that starts from the Kiradiigi experimental pilots and Rakli Clinic and the former Rava 2 project, and now the Rava 3 Pro pilots that are we hear more tomorrow about those results. So this is the multi-stakeholder situation that has took part. So we had municipalities there. I dare to say that 10% of the Finnish municipalities have taken part in these several projects. The architects, the builders, consultants, but also the officials that are preparing the national building code took part in learning in these pilots that how should the legislation be developed. And then we had also the software firms there from many sides. So what was done in the pilots? There was a core group governing or leading the pilot management and defining the suitable project and connecting the designers and all the actors to these pilots. And then there is this kind of very participative training given by the consultants to the municipalities and also the designers about how to take BIM, how the models should be designed to fulfill the needs of the permit administration. And then there was testing, the data transfer, and there was this kind of demo meetings that all these participants together looked how the BIM was used and how what should be developed further and like the information writing issues that very many diverse ways of doing the BIM model and this served for the further development and the public bodies or the municipalities had certain findings from the pilots that it's not possible to change everything at once, so they have to develop ways, these new ways in parallel, how to use BIM as they had to do their everyday work and taking one step at a time. And in terms of legislation, so the piloting was very important to test the new future laws and what works in practice. The software firms really needed to understand the data that should be transferred to the building control, and that's what was really learned with cooperation with the architectural players and the municipalities. And Archicad and Revit, their representatives in Finland took part in these pilots. Then it was also a place for innovation and creating new software to fill some gaps in this sense that would help the architects to make the BIM models according to the requirements. So since the legislation is developing and we will have the new law very soon, and it will force some changes towards DBP. But the most important thing in these pilots was the own enthusiasm of the all participants, and despite of the requirements of the law, and that was kind of basis for this innovation community, and the innovation community is maybe the most important thing in these pilots to make it work and to have this kind of community spirit driving the innovation there. And next, then we would like to see the builders more take this innovative spirit and join the experimental and testing, taking real projects and trying new ways of using the digital processes. And the last, I think, the question that why are we doing this thing that was presented here many times. And I strongly believe that this is just a beginning, and these developments lay the ground for many things to follow, like the environmental impact of the built environment and circular economy, and so I stop here and thank you.
Thank you very much, Antero. The community, don't put down the microphone yet. The community aspect, I think, is also very important. But and Finland also has this ecosystem now regarding the BIM-based building permits in Kirahub, right? But probably Anna-Riita is going to talk about that tomorrow. Yes, I heard Anna-Riita. Yeah. So I just wanted to make a kind of a teaser for your presentation tomorrow.
So the community.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Sorry. It's a teaser. I didn't tell what it does exactly.
So the story continues tomorrow.
Yeah. Any quick questions from the audience? Yeah? We have a really active question guy here.
Just curious, you said we encourage the builders to take the project. How do you encourage them?
Well, I hope they have their motivation, of course, and then build better better buildings. But I hope that this development helps to create a unified way of permitting that has been found very problematic in Finland, maybe elsewhere, that because there are different practices in different municipalities, so that could help them to have a unified process and simple things from the constructors and builders side. Of course, that's only one motivation, but let's find some more.
Thank you again very much, Antero. And now we take you from cold Finland to warm Brazil. So I would like to welcome on stage Paulo, who is going to give us from across the Atlantic news about what's going on there. The stage is yours, so please, the mic and the remote are there.
Okay. First, it's an honor to be here to talk the digital building permit process in Brazil. The situation there is completely different that we have here. We don't have so many sponsors, public authorities and universities. It's completely different. But our project, we started 7 years ago with the Salvador municipality, and I will talk a little bit about this project, but with a practical perspective, not research, university, or even technical, okay? Just to see in the final our system working, okay? There is a small video that will clarify what you talked before. So, the topic is building permitting process in Brazil and automatic analysis of normative compliance with BIM projects. Well, I was happy watching the Switzerland presentation because about the legislation is in Switzerland is similar that we have in Brazil. Brazil is a huge country with 27 states, more than 5,500 municipalities, and there are 3 levels of government: the federal, the states, and the municipalities. And although the Brazilian government strives to standardize legislation for municipalities, the municipalities have total authority over building codes and construction, the BCC, and other urban planning issues. That document was created by the Brazilian government, but it's only good practice. The municipalities are not obligated to use that, okay? I think it is similar than in Switzerland and maybe in other countries. So the BCC across the country are highly heterogeneous, filter distinct contents, levels of depth, and varying degrees of requirements. What are the objectives that you have started this project 7 years ago? Turn the management of construction license agile, end-to-end management of the entire process flow, I will show, enable the applicants to identify project inconsistencies before submitting for regulatory analysis. I think something similar that Paulo from SAIP mentioned here. And intensive use of information technology associated with BIM and GIS. Our solution, now the name is Tecto, the old was Metropolis, is constructed with based in 4 modules, the BIM engine, viewer, regulatory, and workflow, and can be completely integrated with the e-government platform, in case in Salvador. And the good point is that we can integrate the IFC file with the data of the IFC file with the GIS information about the localization of the building and about the legislation of each municipality. So there is a certification of urban parameters from IFC files. Use the version of the applicable legislation on the day of the project submission for approval. Even if the legislation is updated, we can track all the versions of the legislation. automatic form filling with the certified urbanistic indices and parameters from the BIM model, real-time BIM code checking, and customized staff's level agreement, track and audit all process steps, and proprietary cloud for database storage type. In the next video, in the next slide, there is a short video about this slide. But it's important. Sorry. It's important. I talk about some point here. The process flow is divided in two sides. One is for the responsible technical applicant, and the other one is for the municipality and the regulatory agencies. In the responsible technical applicant side, he will work. Before sending the project for the municipality, the applicant will model and visualize the project using classification and Technoviewer, one of that models. And at this moment, all the data for the IFC files will help automatic filling of forms that will be necessary later for the municipality. And at this time, there will happen a pre-validation in real time of the project according to the legislation and localization. And if any parameter is out of specification, he will receive a red warning, a red light, indicating what is in out of specification and how to correct, because the applicant only will send the pre-approved when all the parameters are in specification, okay? And in the other side, for the municipality and regulatory agencies, it will be easier because they will receive the pre-approved project, okay? All the points are in specification. And it will start a collaborative and transparent analysis among all approved team, okay? And after that, the building permit is released.
Step 1, exporting IFC files.
This is
Building
the
information
project.
modeling software. The process of exporting a project file to the IFC format is demonstrated, following the recommended export configuration. Step 2, importing IFC file for stratification and automatic form filling. The architect imports the IFC file into the form, allowing for automatic population of the forms with project data. Step 3, IFC file stratification using Tectoviewer for architects. The IFC file is stratified with automatic population filling besides pre-validation, according to legislation. Step 4, submitting the pre-approved project for analysis. With the pre-approved project, the applicant can submit the process for regulatory analysis. Step 5, receipt of the project for analysis. The regulatory agency analyst receives the pre-approved process with all forms already filled with project urbanistic information. Step 6, distribution of the project for collaborative analysis. The process is distributed to all related departments that will analyze it in coordination. In this example, it is distributed to 3 analysis departments. Step 7, collaborative and transparent analysis. As the analysis is conducted transparently and collaboratively, an analyst from one department can check the status of the analysis from other departments. In this example, while the analysis of Department 1 is ongoing, Departments 2 and 3 complete their analyses. Then, the process history is reviewed, and the analysis of Department 1 is concluded. Step 8, building permitting release. Once the analyses are completed, the issuance of the building permit is released.
General filters. Oh, sorry. General filters. Up to 9% reduction time for the building permit process, integration with any existing system in the municipality. Many intuitive panels for the applicant and regulatory agents are used throughout the approval chain. Customized business intelligence for any needs of the municipality. And the communication between regulator and his team with the engineers and architect becomes more effective and faster. And finally, the communication and collaboration among the regulatory agencies, for example, environment, firefighters, and legal finance departments. Ooh, sorry. And just to finalize, Salvador was
really quickly.
Okay, Salvador was the first city to start BIM technology for the building permit process. Other cities in Brazil are currently in the initial stage for adopting tech solution. And it's 144 processes were mapped and optimized in this project. 106 urban indices and parameters for the legislation were implemented. However, in Brazil, many license processes are still submitted in CAD format due to architects' lack of familiarity with BIM. The Textus platform also allows CAD submission. CAD means the old DWG file format, okay? And the platform can be easily customized for the building permit process of any legislation for municipalities. And this project, as I said, started 7 years ago, and artificial intelligence is a work in progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Paulo. I already thought artificial intelligence was not going to be mentioned, and then it finally came. So, just a quick question. How many BIM models have been used for building permits in El Salvador today?
Not so many. I think it's 7 until now, because we started 1 year ago, but we have a problem now with the education, because some applicants start to use the CAD format, and the CAD format in our system is possible, but we are trying with the Salvador government to stop to send the project in the CAD format, okay, to increase the use of BIM.
Okay, but I think thank you again for coming all the way from Brazil here. And if you have any further questions, you can catch Paulo later after the session.
Yes, I'm completely available.
Yeah.
Available, okay?
You hear that? He's available. So, thank you. But now we're going a little bit up north again, back, but not to this side of the Atlantic. We're keeping to the other side of the Atlantic. So now we're going to Canada. And I hope Saeid is here, ready to present. Oh, you scared me. You're behind me. So you're all the way from Canada, but online. So you're at the same time here, but also there. But Saeid, if you say something, we can hear if the mic is working.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly. The floor is yours. I'm just wondering how I can signal you the time now. But don't worry, we'll just turn off the screen, so it's fine. Go ahead, the stage is yours.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Saeid Emamgholian. I'm the GIS director at Eco Innovation Lab, an R&D firm based in Ontario, Canada. I hold a PhD in geomatics with a minor in GIS. Excited to be here today to discuss the topic of digital building permitting in Ontario, Canada. In my presentation today, I'll cover the challenge and opportunities of digital building permitting in Ontario, focusing particularly on determining applicable law agencies for digital building permitting using GIS and AI technologies in our platform called LandLogic. Research from both academia and industry has shown that getting development approval in Ontario can be a real challenge. Digitization has been very slow. Prior to COVID, only a handful of Ontario's 444 municipalities had electronic permitting tools. Once COVID hit, many began adopting e-permitting tools. Also, approval processes in Ontario take longer than they do elsewhere. And it's not just about the time. It's about the trend. Over the last 15 years, the timeline for both building permit and planning approvals have skyrocketed here in Ontario. They can be due to a variety of reasons, including more complex applications, the lack of guidance from regulators, and sometimes poor submission quality. But one of the main reasons is the multitude of stakeholders outlined in Ontario Building Code Act. The Ontario Building Code outlines over 40 applicable law agencies that may be involved either as a reviewer or as the approval authority, depending on the location of the project or primary use of that project. These applicable law agencies contribute to the process, but often result in data silos and communication bottlenecks. Before we go further, let's define planning approvals, building approvals, and applicable law agencies. Planning approvals include anything related to the use of land and how a building interacts with that land and the surrounding neighborhood. They include different applications and studies, often with reviews and comments from various stakeholders. On the other hand, building approval or permits focus largely on the actual building and ensuring it meets the Ontario Building Code. Depending on the applicable law agencies that must be consulted on a given project, the number of stakeholders involved can increase. I should add that planning applications usually start prior to the building application. Sometimes the processes may overlap, but a building permit is only issued after all planning approvals are complete. The Ontario Building Code outlines over 40 different rules, all with reference to various Ontario legislations that must be complete prior to the issuance of a permit. The rules do not affect all projects equally. They are based on your project's location and what the project is. For example, when you are building anything within 45 meters of a provincial highway, you must get approval from the Ministry of Transportation. Or as another example here, over areas where there are risks related to flooding and shoreline erosion, you must get approval from your local conservation authorities. And at the last example here, we have, if you are trying to repurpose land that was previously used as an industrial factory, you are required to submit a record of site condition to the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Park. So understanding which of these applicable law agencies have jurisdiction on the land is the key challenge for all parties, the applicant, the municipality, and the applicable law agencies. Here is why. Firstly, the data for identifying applicable law agencies is difficult to access. Many of these authorities do not use public-facing GIS tools to show where their regulated areas are. Even sometimes they have them in PDFs. Secondly, the data where available is maintained by different authorities, which makes it very siloed. The only way to access that data is by going to their website or in some cases making an appointment with the jurisdiction. And lastly, the data is inconsistent. There are no enforced standards in the province. Different authorities may refer to the same information using different terms, making it confusing for all parties. LandLogic.ai was created to overcome these hurdles in Ontario's development approval processes. It collects, digitizes, and most importantly, standardizes data from multiple governmental bodies, such as provincial, regional here as upper tier authorities, conservations, and municipal authorities that can be either lower tier or single tier. And at LandLogic's core, we have integrated advanced AI functionalities to identify applicable law agencies for any piece of land based on the location and the type of application, as well as the regulations that apply to you. No matter you are in a lower tier municipality that includes an upper tier, or you are in a single tier municipality. Let's take a moment to review the progress made with LandLogic to date. We have successfully integrated LandLogic into 37 lower tier municipalities within 8 upper tiers. Additionally, it has been implemented in 12 single tier municipalities. You might need to have some examples. For example, some single tiers like Toronto, Hamilton, and Ottawa are part of the process. Currently, LandLogic includes an extensive database comprising approximately 700 datasets and over 4,000 layers required for informed decision makings. Some of the layers include planning data, like conservation layers, transportation, and environmental layers. Now, a question might arise that what will happen with the data updates? To make sure that LandLogic stays current and accurate, empowering all parties with reliable information for decision-making process, we have developed an ETL tool equipped with AI capabilities that automatically identifies any change or updates in the data sources and updates the LandLogic's database and front accordingly.
Saeid, you have
As
2
you're
minutes remaining. Sorry to interrupt. But
okay, sure. As you're watching the quick demo of our platform, I'll highlight some of the key aspects here. Users can access property boundaries where available. And as mentioned earlier, all parties can explore most of the required data sets, such as official plan maps, zoning, conservation layers, and natural heritage and flooding areas, transportation layers, all in one place. And also with any details of features users are looking for. By these data sets, along with the formulated regulations, most of approval authorities can be identified and involved in the process. We are also adding some 3D functionalities that I'll talk more about at the end of my presentation. I should add that if you have the surveying boundary of your project site or you want to draw your project site directly, you can do that and you can upload your project site. Also, you can draw and see the drawing in the map and start creating a project on top of that. And all users can create project and start identifying applicable law agencies with our AI tools and then share the applications and collaborate on them. This makes the process easier, faster, and also more transparent for all parties involved. In terms of the how this can help improve the process, all groups involved can see benefits. Applicant will see a better understanding of the restrictions and requirements and ultimately get the actual approval faster. For municipalities, they will be receiving better quality applications from these more knowledgeable applicants. And also they will be able to engage with applicable law agencies more quickly. And for applicable law agencies, since they will be identified sooner, they will be involved sooner, and they will be able to provide feedback to the applicant and municipality earlier. As we wrap up, let's take a look at what's next for LandLogic. Currently,
Saeid, a
we are
really quick
engaged
wrap
in...
up, please. Just 1 minute, no more.
Yeah, we are engaged in beta testing with some municipalities and consultants, ensuring our platform aligns with their needs. Also, we are looking to integrate with existing permitting systems like One Ontario, making process even smoother. And looking ahead, we are also developing a BIM viewer and IDS checker for applicants that require building permits. Also, we are exploring the integration of BIM IFC data with GIS for automated rule checking, mainly city scale rules, to simplify the approval process as much as possible. Thank you, and if you have any question, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Saeid. Yeah. Quick question from the audience, if we have any. No, it doesn't seem everything was very clear and understandable. Thank you, Saeid, over from those fiber optic channels in Canada. So
thank you for making happen the remote presentation. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So now, moving on. I'm happy to introduce the next presenter, whose name I don't even have to look up. He's Christopher Raitviir from city of Tallinn, from my lovely home country, Estonia. So we're back in cold fronts again. So make us warm, Chris, with your excellent talk.
Of digital construction in the city of Tallinn, also the early stage researcher for the Tallinn Technical University. And as we have been here traveling throughout the globe, now I invite you all to a journey into the time machine. Actually, we're not going to the future, we are going into the past, back into the time, because I'm not talking so much about digital building permit, but one step earlier, one extremely important step, which is like urban planning. And how we are looking into the information model-based urban planning prototyping in Estonia, especially in the city of Tallinn, but we are joining the forces with the ministries so that we can implement this also on the international level. And the most popular question today, why? Why do we do it? What is the purpose? Of course, to create the best place to live in, the desired destination to arrive to have the best possible urban environment. And of course, to answer the question of the new European Bauhaus stuff, to have something beautiful, the beauty. So, but what is the situation? Where do we stand? What is mostly happening as is urban planning? The process length, of course, it's not a short one. So in Tallinn, the average, what you wait for the detailed zoning planning, the thing you need before the building permitting, 7 years. So it actually doesn't really matter if you receive your building permit with 100 days or 200 days or 300 days. If you waste 7 years on this kind of thing, then 200 days is just a very small scale. Of course, the machine readability is not existing in this kind of like PDF and documented formats. Also, the participation of the neighbors and all the public people using these kind of drawings, it's not user-friendly, and this is totally user-hostile. And is this really how we are creating this kind of like best urban environment? I can answer to this question myself, no, definitely not. And you can see like existing thing, small drawing there, and a lot of explanations how to read these bloody drawings. Hatches on top of hatches on top of hatches. I'm a civil engineer myself, but I get nightmares when I'm looking at this picture. So something needs to change, but change to where? So of course, spatial planning information model. What we can call as BIM-based planning, basically. Information model-based planning. But it's not that easy to just, okay, let's start using it. What is actually the spatial information model? We have to define the scope. Like, what do we model in 2D? What do we model in 3D? What is the level of geometry? What is the level of information? Of course, compatibility with softwares that architects are usually using. And also, what is really important, this kind of like thing Jaan said before, open standards. And of course, this has to have the machine readability and provide us the automated rule checking. We know already that the automated rule checking works very well. We have implemented it for the building permits in Estonia. We have a quite good existing system to learn from. And then, of course, we can make faster decisions, but coming back to the purpose, the best urban environment, we have to make better decisions. Even if we are not saving time, we have to increase the quality. The time and the quality, both are important. And we started with some pilots. We inserted this kind of like using the IFC as the planning information. Of course, the building proxies were the elements we were choosing because we didn't have the good understanding where to map this for the IFC entities. Inserting them to our city model. Then we went a little bit more precise. For that, I even have the moving picture. So we have the city model, and then we have the buildable area. But when we insert the buildable area there, what is according to the regulations, then it can also be a little bit confusing. It's not only the 3D, as you can see, there is data like what is the cross floor area allowed, etc., etc. But if we would show this kind of picture only, then it will be very confusing to the participants, the neighbors, because the buildable area is not actually the volume that is going to be there, and they will be very much scared because this is the actually one possible volume. It's only 60 to 70, maybe even 50% of the buildable area. Then to just visualize the buildable area, it's very, very confusing, and then a lot of communication is needed. Also, we can add the greenery there, like what kind of like trees, what are the species, what is the value class of the trees that we have to preserve. And again, the different transportation layers, the rules there, what are the transportation layers for pedestrian, what are the ones for the cyclists. And also, we can put there the utility network restrictions. I really hope that it speeds up a little bit. I have 3 minutes left. Okay, I should manage with that. So, but if we have these white boxes, then again, user-centric approach. When you're like living there, looking out the window, you don't see these white boxes. You actually see this kind of thing like picturized buildings. Okay, I think I will hold it like this, perhaps then the microphone is not jumping around so much. And if we have also the...
Take this one, maybe this one is better.
Okay, very good. Now Jaan can't even yell at me with his microphone when I'm running out of time.
I have a loud voice, don't worry.
So we have the utility network restriction zone, and then we have the trees that we want to preserve. With this hatches on top of hatches on top of hatches drawings, we wouldn't even perhaps notice it, but the trees don't only have the part above the ground, they have the roots below the ground, and when we want to preserve these trees and we see that, okay, most probably they will grow into this kind of like utility network site at some point, or we want to service the utility network, then we are just cutting the roots. So why are we actually preserving these trees? But when we're hiding this information into the drawing, then these questions perhaps are not rising, or they are rising at the point then where we are already with the building permitting, and we can't change anything because in the zoning plannings, some things were set to stone. And of course, if we have the architectural drawing in the later stage, we can use the same models for the building permitting checks, because for the building permit, to receive a permit, your project has to be in accordance with the urban planning. So you can't do the automated checkings if your model is not applicable for machine readability. Okay, and there is another case when we have an area where there are like a lot of urban planning, so there is like coherence of the different planning areas. When there is like bicycling lane going from one area to another, there is also a short video, but I know already my time is running out, so I'm not showing it to the end, so that we can also put the different plans so that the municipality worker, they don't have like to have one PDF on one screen, another PDF on another screen, then they're zooming into one PDF, but because this PDF is so huge, filled with information, then they're going to make a coffee, and perhaps when they come back, then it has been finished. But okay, next slides. So what we are doing, automated rule checking, I will just jump over, because there has been a lot of talk about this automated rule checking. Now with in collaboration with the Future Insight, actually, we are building a prototype solution to run these kind of automated checks about like the greenery, the detailed zoning plan. Is it according to the master plan? We can't use any kind of laws and regulations. We can't use this wonderful raise markupping, because the law says detailed zoning plan has to be according to the master plan. Okay, this is highlighted, but what is there? So, and another two final things, we can do the analysis, like the direct sunlight. Are the buildings getting enough the sunlight? And also the wind. There is also possibility of the noise. We can get it with 30 minutes by having the models. But with the PDFs, we would have to wait 2 or 3 months for the engineering companies to do it. And that's it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. So, quick questions. Yeah, question here from Germany.
Yeah, thank you. Very impressive presentation. And we are rolling out our solution now in Germany, and so the municipalities, they get the plan in PDF and the drawing that you showed. And one of the biggest complaints is like, where is my big paper plan that I can look on it? And how big must the screen be that I can check the plan digitally? And yeah, so then I think about large screens or large whatever. How do your customers deal with this situation, working like on the screen with all this information? Do they manage, or they have problems? They need training, or how is it?
Well, using the PDFs, it's the thing like I said, you have to wait every time you want to zoom in into your PDF, because the computers that the local municipality workers are using are not that high level, so it takes some time. They don't have the GPUs, but using these kind of like models and stuff, they can put that much information under their eyes that they want to do, so that they don't have to drown in the information, so they really understand it a little bit better. So as far as I know, that there is, of course, some skepticism, but most of the municipality people also are very anxious and waiting this kind of like new technologies to emerge, and so that we could finally use it for the city planning as well.
Thank you, Chris. So if you have any more questions, there's one quick question from Petri, but really, I beg you, keep it quick because we are way behind schedule.
No worries, I will take long to answer, yeah? Please don't cut my mind.
Actually, it's not a question, but answer for the previous question that at the city of Vantaa 2017, when they turned up to the electronic building systems, and those people on this office, they were arguing that they need to have these big drawings there. And it was 65 inches screens, and after that they didn't argue anymore. Everybody got that on their rooms.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So no answer needed, Chris. Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody.
And yes. We have a slight change in schedule because due to the abnormal weather conditions in Dubai, we couldn't get our Dubai representative here. But considering how packed the program is, and we just had one presenter not coming up, it's incredible. But we still have Carla here, who is going to talk to us what's happening in Portugal. And after that, we have one more cherry on top of the cake. But bear with us for a little bit more. And Carla, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Jaan. I know that it's been a long day, and we saw a lot of examples of strategies, of tools, solutions for the municipalities start to digitalize the building permits process. I really appreciate the previous presentation of Christopher because it's very close to our example. And I can start here. Our presentation, and I must say that is my challenge now is to summarize all this journey that for you, for the audience, in only 10 slides, and I promise in less than 10 minutes, because I know we are running out of time. But I first must ask something because I'm very curious about that, because I'm a civil servant. I'm here with two colleagues that work with me in the municipality or in the municipality company that works in the municipality of Vila Nova de Gaia, Portuguese city. And I need to know something. How many architects are in the room? Okay. And how many civil servants are in the room that work daily with these issues, with the approval and the analysis of the building permits? Okay, 1, 2, 3. My colleagues don't count. Okay, we are a few of them. So, during the day, we hear a lot of difficult words for me, that everything is very complex, that we have legislation, regulations, contracts, a lot of things that are obstacles to us to achieve the success. But I also hear during this day that municipalities are the key of success for the implementation of this process. So our example is here. We started the transformation of our organizational systems in 2012. We started small. We started smart, not hard, because we must keep in mind that in the other sides is always people who submit their projects to be approval, the people who want a building permit to start their constructions, and there are also people that are architects who are working with other persons or with other people, and there are the promoters who bring some of further the economy of the city. So this is important for us, and we started in 2012, and this is our roadmap, and we have signalized some of the milestones that we achieved, and that open up and accelerate this digital transition. It's important for us to refer the prize that we won as a recognize of our work at national level in Portugal. But it's also important to give some importance to the maturity of the process that we have when COVID appears, because it was very useful during the lockdown, because it was very easy for us very quickly to make an immediate remote transition thanks to this maturity of the project. It was something like that. We said to all the collaborators that we have in the company, and we have something like 250 people working in the municipal company. It was like doing that, and everyone was working from home. And it was also important to refer here that it gives us the opportunity to be part of more ambitious projects, just like Czech, and who knows, perhaps in the near future with the colleagues from Vienna, with the Breeze project, Vienna, and also with Christoph from Tallinn, because we made a submission for a back transfer network, trying to learn a little bit more about the process that they have implemented in Vienna, and who knows, perhaps to bring some knowledge for our city and try to do something with that. So, how it starts? How it starts in 2012. Just like we heard along the day, we know that urban planning and building permits are extremely time-consuming, and it's a complex process. It requires endless resources, and we quickly understand and recognize that the importance of the dematerialization of urban planning is a process complex, but it was also a strategic initiative to modernize our systems and our workflows. And our initial focus in 2012 was only in the external stakeholders. Just like I said, 3 minutes only, okay, I'm going to be very, very, very quick. We start with external stakeholders. We try to avoid all that we have on our company, like a lot of paper, and we start to digitalize all the process, working with PDF files. So we developed these 3 tools that we have. We have the digital process builder, we have a document management model, and we have all a digital country. We do everything that all the companies that have been present and the academia presented to us. This is all developed by our multidisciplinary team that work in the process. With these strategic goals in mind, we will eliminate all the paper in the company, all the paper that used to be submitted by the promoters and the architects, and then we start to think that it was time to pass to the workflows internal of the company. And we decide also to eliminate all the paper in the company. With this, we have a lot of results that can be represented and can be measured. We have a lot of resource savings because we don't have any more paper. We have a lot of territorial competitiveness because we are more transparent. We have more speed and efficiency in our analysis in the building permits. It's also a very important tool for decision intelligence because we adopt new governance models in the municipality, and everything is very transparent for every people, to all the stakeholders that are involved in the process. We can also measure this in terms of carbon footprint. The sustainability is always present in our process. We are very aware, especially nowadays with the European taxonomy for sustainability. We know that will be very important for us. We have already measures and indicators about the reduction of paper. In this case, it was something like 2 million of sheets of paper. We have also water conservation. We have reduction of CO2 emissions. And one of the things that is very important, we don't have any more people in the public space in the company. So at this moment, something happened. It was the point of that we realized that the tipping point was reached, and we start to move from 2D digital process for 3D digital process. And we are now, I'm just finished my presentation, we are now starting to experiment with concept proofs, with some pilot actions, with our team, with our multidisciplinary team, trying to implement 3D digital projects with BIM methodologies using IFC models. And what we are done now is something that you have seen before in these presentations. We are trying to move and to use 3D urban models with open data. We have a lot of information available in our website for all the architects that are working with us in the city. And we are also trying to improve our work, and this is happening now because we are deep diving in these issues with Czech projects, with all the opportunities that we have discovered with these partnerships, with this work. And now I'm going to use the same example that Christoph says. One of the most important words in the slogan of the European Bauhaus, working together with all stakeholders and all the people. And I think that is everything by now. I think that I have another image here because I forgot to pass the slide. And I think that is all that I have. I think that I can give you some answers to some questions. Not only me, because I must say, it's just the only thing that I must say. I don't say my name. I don't say what I do. I really believe that I'm a change agent. I work for more than 20 years in the company. The past 10 years just acting like a change agent, inspiring and motivating people to do the change in the company, to do innovation. And I'm here with two colleagues that work in this specific area. There's this Patricia that works in the urban planning department of the city, and Marco Carvalho that is responsible for GIS department in the company. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Carla. And we don't have time for questions, but maybe your colleagues can stand up so everybody can see them, and they can. You can contact them if you have any questions. Approach them. They are very friendly and approachable. They won't bite, I assure you. So thank you again, Carla. And now to wrap up the day, our anchor man, our last keynote, Alan. You have the honor of doing the final presentation for today, and yeah. You see, it's like 95% of the people are still here. So I think that's a good result.
But I'm very impressed indeed by this.
I'm looking forward.
A very good afternoon to all, or shall I say maybe already a very good evening to all, because it's very, very late. And I can imagine that you are all very, very tired. But I will try over roughly 20 minutes try to introduce you something which is totally different, and my speech is going, and my presentation is going to be of a totally different nature. It's not indeed about rocket science, it's not indeed about technologies. You are all of you developing quite very advanced technologies, and we have done it over the last 30 years. But what I would like to talk to you is how we can better promote, and how we try at our level to better promote indeed the research and innovation that you are doing, how we can help you better work together and indeed have an impact all along the whole value chain. And by the way, the words from Carla, I guess, with the previous speaker are very, very interesting, because when we talk about the value chain, it's not only about the research value chain or the technical value chain, but it's all about the complete value chain, including the user. So I'm Alan Zarli, I'm Secretary General of ECTP. So ECTP is the European Construction Technology Platform. This is the only technology platform recognized today by the European Commission, dealing with all aspects of vision, vision, foresight, and strategic research agenda and road mapping in terms of research and innovation for the construction sector. So this is not, of course, only about digitalization. I will put a little bit the focus on that, but it's about all various, of course, challenges that we are facing in the built environment and all the various technologies. And so we are indeed a membership-based organization. We are in Brussels. And indeed, we are, beside the fact that all the members are structured into, for the time being, 6 different committees, 6 different groups, targeting covering more or less all the aspects related to research and innovation. And one of them, of course, which is maybe one of the most important because it's really cross-cutting, it's transversal, is of course the Digital Built Environment Committee. Beside those committees formed by all our members, but also interacting with many others, we are really at the heart of a complete research and innovation ecosystem in Europe. We have quite a lot of interaction with all the various DGs in the European Commission. We are interacting with many associations as well, professional associations, with also associations like Housing Europe or Eurocities, which are more on the demand side in terms, of course, of need for new technologies. And last but not least, we try to erect with the European Commission different types of partnerships in order to really program with the European Commission a set of goals and topics that are going to be funded by the European Commission. So I will skip this one, but one of them, and the most important one, is a Build4People co-program partnership. Co-program mean you have different types of partnerships, but I will not dive into the detail of that. But co-program mean that we work with the European Commission over the complete Horizon Europe program to derive with them, of course, all the various topics and goals that they are going to fund. And this, of course, means that quite a bunch of projects will be funded through this Build4People partnership. And what is important is that we have secured with that 400 million euros of funding for research and innovation over Horizon Europe, dedicated to the construction sector. This is only part of it, but this one is very, very important. The idea on this one is really, in some way, to link all the technologies and the research and innovation, and you have demonstrated all those technologies already today, with the key objectives, of course, as defined by the European Union through the various programs and initiatives. And in particular, for instance, in that case, Build4People is about decarbonization, energy efficiency, but also reducing resource intensity and increasing all aspects around circular economy. And this linked typically, for instance, with the European Green Deal. So the scope is defined in this Build4People. It's not covering all the challenge of the built environment, but it's really linking some of the challenges that the built environment must tackle in the context of the ambition of the European Union in terms, in that case, of decarbonization. But we try also to add 2 other points. The first one is to have a better user-centric approach and also improving the collaboration between people. And this includes the reference to the new European Bauhaus. And I will say 2 words about the way, one of the way we tackle this. And the other one is, of course, to increase the operation of the full built environment value chain toward the objectives, indeed, of Build4People. So, in that case, we have a vision. I'm not diving into all these, don't worry about that. But just to say that, as you can see on top of it, we have those objectives and ambitions from the European Commission and also from the Sustainable Development Goals. At the bottom, we indeed try to develop those 4 bubbles. We develop synergies with all EU instruments targeting climate neutrality of Europe. We, of course, allow and support the collaborative project, the collaborative research and innovation projects through the Horizon Europe program. We try to create a construction a network of construction innovation cluster. I'll get back to that point later on very quickly. And we try to support more and more the co-creation process to ensure user-driven approach. And this is where we try really also to integrate the values and the principle of the NEB, of the New European Bauhaus. So as such, we have defined a set of objectives. You will have quite a lot of time, of course, if you are interested in to get into those objectives on the Build4People website. But we have defined specific objectives and also operational objectives, which oftentimes corresponds to the type of assets that you are developing, and in particular all the software assets that are supporting the process in the built environment. And for all those objectives, of course, we have defined with the European Commission the KPIs corresponding to those objectives, which means that if you are doing research and innovation that is targeting the objectives of Build4People, you have to demonstrate in your project how your outputs and outcomes match all, or rather some of those KPIs. This is also, of course, a way for the European Commission to have a proof, kind of an evidence that we are progressing all together toward those objectives according to those KPIs. So Build4People, as every partnership or structure, you know, have its governance. I would like just to say that there is a Build4People stakeholder forum that it's totally free. You can register to it, and in that case, you will not receive a flood of information. We try to be as much as selective because we all receive now quite a lot of information, but we try to inform you about various events and various progress that are done with respect to the Build4People. And this is, of course, totally free to do so. And we have a structure, we have many exchange, and we regularly present the advancements of the partnership with each and every member state, which are grouped into a state representative group. Something which is very, very important is that we developed, according to a complete process, the research topics that will feed the various work programs of Horizon Europe. So that was 21-22, then 23-24, and we are preparing the work program 2025, and then it will finish with 2026 and 27. And at each time, with respect to the first draft work program, second draft, third draft, and final one, we have interaction with the European Commission through, in particular, a Build4People Partnership Board formed by 60 members from ECTP and also the World Green Building Council to help the European Commission define those topics. What is important, and then I'm back a little bit more on aspects related to digitalization, is that indeed a strong accent is continuously put on this aspect of digitalization. I may suspect that I'm not totally innocent, I would say, with respect to this, because I'm coming from these aspects. I'm myself a computer scientist by training a long time ago. And I often push towards integrating these cross-cutting issues into all the development in terms of research and innovation. And so a strong accent is continuously put on building and information modeling at the background, I would say, but of course moving towards digital twins, automation, including robotics, all aspects related, of course, to the use of data, and also remember the user-centric dimension of Build4People. Try to increase the involvement of the users in participative design, planning, management, renovation of buildings and district. So you can have a look here. Those were the goals of 2023. Just note that those are indeed the Build4People goal, but you will see that ECTP is developing a strategic research and innovation agenda which feed all the other goals. Those are other goals which are complementary to this one in cluster 5, dedicated to decarbonization and energy. But we are also feeding the European Commission, for instance, in cluster 5, which is more about the industry and the process, and in particular the twin transition, the green and digital transition. And indeed, for the next wave of calls, which will be open next September, you can see that there are at least 3 calls which are fully dedicated to what is of interest to all of you, from my point of view at least, as far as I've followed the presentation this afternoon. And the 2 others, in all cases, when we talk about industrialization, I would say that we need to talk about digitalization as well. So indeed, this is really pervasive in all the calls, but 3 of them will be fully dedicated to this technology. So in ECTP, we every 3-4 years define or refine our strategic research and innovation agenda. The last one was done last year and defined 3 main pillars, and in particular objective 3, which is indeed tackling the digitalization aspect. And here we define indeed what are the various domains and themes that are tackled in those objectives. And if we go for, sorry for the animation, and if we go, for instance, for the objective 3, you have already part of the details of what are the different topics. Ensure seamless and high-quality data stream is, of course, fundamental as far as we talk about digital building permits or digital building logbooks. But there is something which is also important for us, and where we really have considered those aspects, is really this one: tools for improved decision models, for improved decision making, where we see that there is explicit reference to permit, but we see really the digital building permit as one building data model to feed and align with additional models. Because this is probably the aggregation, the interaction, the aggregation of different models, the permits, the logbook, also the data models that we will need to develop in terms of circular renovation or secondary materials or waste. How are we going to deal these kind of things? And also linking, and there were some very nice presentation of that, linking of course with the surrounding, the district and the cities model. So what we can imagine is that this will allow us, having this kind of interaction will also allow us to move from data to information and information to knowledge. But this is modeling all aspects related indeed to those various use cases that we will want to develop in the future. Maybe I can try just to give an example about what, for instance, the difference between data, information and model. You have probably, most of you, heard about the dramatic accident that there was, in this bridge in Italy. I apologize for the Italian colleagues to refer to this one, but it could have happened probably everywhere. But that was the Morandi Bridge. And what is very interesting in this example, for instance, is that at the time of the design and specification of this bridge, it was clearly established, more or less, the stream and the flow, the average of flow of vehicles to cross the bridge per day. And also the mass of each vehicles, which is aggregated and which has an influence, of course, on the structure and on the fatigue of the structure of the bridge, to deal with. And the fact is that, well, there was probably a patchwork of reasons where there was this bridge collapsing a few years ago. One of them was related maybe to not enough maintenance and taking care about exactly where was the state of the structure. But they realized suddenly, and they have seen that there was, of course, those figures, in terms of vehicles passing in the bridge, in terms of the mass of those vehicles, and that at the end, counting this year after year, indeed there were 11 more vehicles passing per day, and that the mass of those vehicles overall was 6 more than the one it was planned. And that was also due to the fact that at the time of this bridge was erected, it was supposed to have a kind of a circular highways around Genova, and finally these circular highways didn't appear, and the bridge was indeed overused in some way. And all this kind of information is something which is part of the knowledge that we have to capitalize to avoid in the future these types of incident. I was just referring, I'm not getting into the detail of this because, well, DigiChecks indeed is supporting the conference, and I've seen that there are posters, but DigiChecks is, for instance, one example of those projects supported in the context, in that case, of the twin transition call in cluster 4, but based leveraging indeed on the SRIA of ECTP. I would just say that what we try also to do in ECTP is to provide new types of tools to help collaboration between all of you. What does that mean? This is a platform. This platform is not going to be a new technical platform to necessarily deal with digital building permits. The idea of this platform, which has been developed in different projects indeed, is to help share the research and the outcome of the outcomes of the research that is developed throughout Europe. I've been managing the EB public-private partnership over Horizon Europe, and I said to some of my colleagues at the coffee break that more than 400 innovative assets has been developed and identified, and indeed very few are now today on the market or integrated in bigger demonstrators. So one of the ideas is also to allow your research assets to be more shared, to be more knowledgeable to all those people that are interesting potentially on those assets. So this, in one way, will try to provide with some references. I'm referring, for instance, to the SRI, the Smart Readiness Indicators. You know that the EPBD has been now agreed by the member states and the council, and so it's now just a matter of publishing the law, and the new EPBD, the revisited EPBD, will be then official, including the Smart Readiness Indicators repository, which is not binding, by the way, and it's under experimentation by various member states. So, I'm not getting into the detail of this. This is just kind of a summary, but this is important to see that what we try also to push, and that was one of an example, DigiPlace of strategic project, which was initially launched a little bit by ECTP with all the associations, and Jaan, by the way, was part of it as well. And where we define what could be a reference architecture framework for the construction sector. Reference architecture framework doesn't mean that there is only one platform, not at all, but it's only trying to really establish the specification of what should be such a reference framework. And we try to push the idea of having in the future construction data spaces that could be funded by the European Commission, at least to have some experimentation, leveraging on the outcomes of DigiPlace, leveraging on many of your developments, and also, for instance, leveraging on results that have emerged around digital twins in the Building Digital Twin Alliance, or, for instance, in the Gaia X initiative. So I will conclude with that. If you are interested, just to tell you that there is the Sustainable Places 2024 conference. This is my last slide. The 24 conference, which is organized in Luxembourg in September, and that at this we will have a Build4People stakeholder forum, which is open to all of you, by the way, even if you are not formally registered, I would say, in the stakeholder forum. This is totally open to you, and this is totally free. Well, not the conference itself. The conference itself is not, but the first day will be, the whole afternoon will be dedicated to the Build4People to the Built4People Partnership, and in that case, this is totally open. We expect that this session will put the scene in terms, indeed, of what are what all the projects that will be then further presented by in Sustainable Places 2024 will support in terms of the ambition and the objectives of Built4People. Sorry for having been a bit long, but okay, that was quite a lot of information, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you, Alain. No need to apologize. We started a little late as well, so it's. I think we're all good, and people are still here. So apparently, they really like the presentation. So, one question from my side: when do you think? I had a question about DigiPlace, but you answered it just before the end, which was really good. But what do you think what the European Commission is going to do as the next step? You mentioned CPR and there's some things and regulations in the works, but what about in terms of digital construction, in terms of BIM and open BIM? Do you see anything that is on the horizon?
Well, the European Commission is... we are sometimes a little bit struggling with them because they would like to have impact right now or tomorrow, I would say. And we all know, all of us know that it takes time to do research and it takes time to demonstrate it. What I would say that the European Commission would really enjoy to have in the current years some kind of proof or evidence that, first of all, we are more working together and that we are more sharing in the construction and built environment, sharing together, I would say, the expertise and the knowledge that we are developing. And in this context,
what they're doing now, right?
Yeah, sure, exactly. But they would like to see the way this technology is feeding current and new usage, if I may say. I have a personal feeling, for instance, about generative AI. Generative AI, for instance, for me, is not a revolution of technology, but it may appear or it may reveal in the future as a generation in the usage that we are doing with artificial intelligence. I've been doing expert systems and artificial intelligence in the 80s, so quite a long time ago. At that time, we didn't have enough data. I agree with you.
I was asking about European Commission, and we ended up in the 80s with AI.
Use of the technologies, integration of the technologies, bigger demonstrators, the capacity of having technologies, and of course supported by software, being able to integrate data all together so that we move on toward the targets that have been defined by the various policies of the European Commission.
Okay. Any other questions from the audience? We have a question here.
You described quite an ambitious data universe. What role do you see for semantics and knowledge graphs in that? Because all the existing data spaces, they use semantics quite in the core of the whole thing.
Right. I'm not a specialist of knowledge graphs, so I'm not going to give you an answer on that because, well, I avoid giving answers, general answers on topics that I'm not fully aware about, fully knowledgeable. But we have been developing, and many of you have done also, all aspects of ontologies on top of data models. And we started with the data models. We decided to standardize those data models. Building Smart is doing a fantastic job on that, and well. Reasonably, at least. I started in the very beginning of the 90s, so I can tell you that in 30 years I can really see the difference. Of course, we can always do better, but what I do believe is that what is the most important is how are we going to consider those data and how are we going to use those data. All technologies, they have their pros and cons, and I'm very, very open on that. But I do believe that it depends on, and it depends also on the usage. under the usage. For instance, I'm not sure, even I've heard about automatic compliance. I don't know exactly what we intend by automatic compliance, but there is also compliance with respect to all the regulations that we have. And we have many in the construction sector. And some of them are overlapping and some of them are contradictory sometimes. So on this case, we have to really deal with the right technologies, and we have to think about the way those technologies can allow us to lead to some trade-off in terms of what are ambitious.
Well, in my view, it's, of course, if you think about the whole picture, you have lots and lots of regulations, you have lots and lots of complexity, the fragmentation of the industry, etc., etc. But we should start somewhere. And I think we saw quite a lot of good examples today on research and technology, and also the examples from different countries where they're already doing these steps. And I'm just hoping that the European Commission will also keep supporting this and also make maybe more practical, tangible steps in that direction.
Can I have a slight provocative comment?
Go ahead.
Yes.
I love provocation.
I've really carefully listened to the previous presenters, speakers, and they have demonstrated quite a lot of technology which are very advanced on their side. But one of the questions is that they have probably faced challenges, barriers, pitfalls maybe. They have been facing some issues with some technologies. Are they sharing together all this knowledge that they have capitalized together?
I think actually
they are sharing today.
Yeah, but there's actually an answer to that, and that is what I always keep saying. It is the open standards, and today and all over, I hear more and more about open standards. You mentioned Building Smart. We have IFC. We have CityGML. We have other standards, and yes. Yes, and we have a EU network for digital building permits. But still, from technology point of view, all companies, they exist to actually make money, to bring a profit to their shareholders, and they need to have some unique selling point. They have intellectual property. That is all okay to have specific vendor-specific stuff as well, as long as you keep the data open. And I think there we already have all the foundation to work on.
Agree with you, but the idea is to really make profit at the end of the day for those private companies.
Yeah, who doesn't like money? Come on.
We expect that they will do, that they will make profit. But maybe that today they have, I would say, a cake with a given size. And if tomorrow working together and sharing together, they are multiplying the cake by 10, then even if they keep the same sharing of the cake, you can imagine the profit that they can do.
Yeah,
this is that way that, from my point of view, people and companies should invest, and also sometimes should think about investing together by collaborating together.
All this talk about cake is making me really hungry now. And thank you, Elaine, once more for wrapping up today. And thank you all for being very patient with us. And this is the close of the final session. But for the final closing remarks, I would like to hand it over to Francesca and Judith, because you started the day, you get to end it.
Thank you, Jaan. Thank you very much for very nice sharing of the session as usual. That's why we put you to let us awake until the end. And thank you very much, everyone, to being here until the end of today, and looking forward to meet you all tomorrow and to talk to you at the dinner and later. And Judith, would you like to say something else?
Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you, all the presenters and the chairs, for excellent work today. I'm looking very much forward to meet you all again tomorrow morning at 9 straight, of course. So we are starting with the procedural session, which is more on the processes. And yes, I hope I can meet every one of you. If we haven't talked with me yet, please reach out to me. I'm here the entire day and probably also night at the restaurant. So we are going right now, or almost, to the restaurant. We will finally meet there at 8. So in 1 hour, it's, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes away from here. So see you all there or tomorrow at the latest. Thank you so much.